never play in them Jeeps. Double up back of the seat. Yeah, yeah. I'm out here looking like Meech. Flooded the paddock for leap. Yeah, yeah. Bookings all up in the piece. We got the key to the streets. Oh, Lord. Remember they said I was done. But they ain't on the one. We get just training this one. I tell my nigga I one. I tell my nigga to get it back. He in the field about to punch up. I had Jermaine in your side piece. That's on the low, but I'm one. Wait. Switch side, nigga, switch side. We ain't never got dick right.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back to Big Man on Campus, and we are live Wednesday, December 14th, 2016. My name is the Big Man on Campus, here with you on a Wednesday with my co-host Ryan. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm all right. Yep.
You're better than Brandon Brooks, though, I'm guessing. The Eagles scarred with anxiety issues, we're seeing.
Yep.
Is that why you sit out of games sick? I'm kind of confused by that.
I guess.
But we'll get back into that later. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, Meek Mill bringing us into another day. I'm not a big fan of that album, Meek's new one he just dropped, Dream Chasers 4. I'm not a big fan of it. I was a big fan of Meek like years ago. Like everything basically prior to Rick Ross. Like everything prior to that I liked. When he got to Rick Ross, I mean, he got real mainstream and all, but I'm not a huge fan of the new album.
Be honest,
personally.
I haven't listened to it, so I don't listen to much modern rap anymore. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked Meek back in the day for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely
Probably you say post Rick Ross.
Pre-Rick.
Yeah, pre-Rick. I'm saying you don't like post Rick
Oh,
Ross.
no,
is what I'm saying.
no.
I probably stopped listening to Meek heavily. Probably the last album that I was really into was Mr. Philadelphia. Probably that prior is what I like.
I like Dream Chasers 1 and 2 are pretty good, but like everything recently has been kind of corny. I'm not a big fan, but because everything sounds the same. It's like there's not a lot of like lyrical edge to anything. It's just all like.
Problem is with a lot of rappers is they have a flow, and a lot of them don't go against it.
Well, the problem with Meek's
and Meek's that way.
And the problem
if you listen to a lot of Meek's songs, his flow is the exact same.
Yeah, but the problem with him is like the stuff he's trying to put out doesn't fit him. He doesn't. He's a guy that he fits on like street tracks and stuff like that. This party shit he puts out, it's not really his thing. Like, and the flow that he has is just. I don't think that's him. That's not his flow, personally. But let's jump into everything here, Ryan. As always, we will continue our bowl coverage and chat a little bit later about some other things. The coaching search for college football is over. No more teams need a coach. Everyone has since ceased that stuff. And we'll get into the bowl stuff a little bit later. Last night, Ryan, we got the job done with Monmouth. They get it done. That went out right against Memphis. How about that?
They did.
They were down big in that game. Came back and won. Needed a signature win. They got one. Finally. Loser of Central Arkansas. Look, that was kind of my concern with that game. I was hoping they would stay close, and then there was some concern that Michigan would just, continue. I mean, they started out 1 for 7 from 3, and then from then on, it was just bombs away from Michigan. So that's what you're going to get back in those kind of teams. I backed the team. Thought I'd see a difference, but it is what it is. Ryan, on the personal end last night, I had a brutal beat last night with Eastern Washington. They're up 5. Moorhead goes down, misses a 3. They get the offensive rebound. They're 17th to the game, by the way. Kicks it out the corner for 3. The kid makes it. They have to go to the monitor to see if there's any more time. No time. Game's over. They win by 2.
Wow.
Laying 3. Fun stuff, right? We are 15-11 on the year. Actually, I'm 15-11 on the year with free picks in college basketball. Flyers going for number 10 tonight. Yeah, they are. We'll chat about that a little bit later as well. Remind me, Ryan. We'll talk about that. We do have a game in progress. St. Joe's up 10-3 on Princeton. Weird time there.
Very. 5 o'clock start.
Yeah. 2 games tonight. We'll obviously go through everything else as well. First game, Ryan, 9 o'clock Eastern. You got Wisconsin laying 22.5 against Wisconsin Green Bay. Now, if you're new to the show, like I said, thanks for listening. Feel free to interact with us on the chat box, or just feel free to sit back and listen. Really up to you. The free picks are basically picks that are good plays. They just didn't make my client card for whatever reason. Wisconsin laying 22.5 to Wisconsin Green Bay. Over under 146.5. Ryan, last year, do you happen to remember this game last year?
I do not.
Okay, it was the first game of Greg Gard. It was his first game. as Wisconsin coach after Bo Ryan left. With 12:39 to go in the game, Ryan, Wisconsin was up 68-40. With 1 minute and 25 seconds to go, they were up 76-73.
Yeah, crazy.
A complete choke job by them. They ended up winning the game by 5, but it was one of those, it did enough to get it done, but it wasn't easy. And look, you look at what Green Bay's done over the last 13 matchups against Wisconsin, 10-3 against the spread.
In that game, Jeff, Wisconsin, 26 turnovers.
Right.
That's hard to believe. 26?
Right. And, you look at Wisconsin this year, they're playing well. I mean, they're getting wins. They're beating good teams, Oklahoma and Syracuse, and they beat Marquette on Saturday, but gave up a lot of points in that game. Wisconsin has had issues in transition. They've also turned the ball over a little bit more than normal. And in that game last year, that led to a lot of points for Wisconsin Green Bay. Look, Green Bay's got, kind of, their whole thing is they scored a lot of points, almost 80 per game. They give up a lot of points. They want to run tempo, Ryan. That's really their thing. Run up and down the court and just try to outscore teams. As far as that, I'm concerned that, Wisconsin may not be able to get back in transition like they'd like. They want to play in the half court. Who knows if they're going to be able to do that. Green Bay is coming off, Ryan, a 107-point game that they gave up against Central Michigan. Central Michigan did whatever they wanted on offense. That's concerning. I think this is a pretty high-scoring game, to be honest. Ryan, an interesting name. Does the name Kareem Cantor mean anything to you?
Sounds familiar.
Well, it's brother Enos Cantor.
Enos Cantor. Okay.
Kareem Cantor, his younger brother, plays at Green Bay. Quite the emergence for him, Ryan. Saturday, he had not played really at all. They put him in the game, 23 points, scored 20 in a row for Green Bay.
Wow.
6'10 forward. I think this one goes over 146.5. I think this is like an 88-72 type of game. I think Green Bay can score. I don't know if this is one of the better Wisconsin defensive teams. And look, we know what Wisconsin can do. They can score a ton. They should score close to 90. I feel like here. We really just need Green Bay to do their part. I think they will. They usually play pretty hard against Wisconsin. Madison. So I'm going to go with over 146.5. Like I said, I think this is like an 88-70, 92-75 type of game. I think this one goes over.
Yeah, look, Wisconsin, they do historically play good defense. They play really good defense at the Kohl Center. I do kind of wonder about that. Will Green Bay be able to score their usual amount of points? I actually like Wisconsin in this game. Actually, you look at Green Bay. One thing that's kind of concerning for me with the Phoenix is they're actually in the midst. Actually, they will wrap up tonight of 4 straight road games. So that is kind of concerning to me. 2 of the 3 that they have played, they have lost. Like you mentioned, Jeff, their last game gave 107 points. They don't play particularly well in the defensive end, so I wonder about that. I think, Wisconsin should be able to score, and obviously their head coach will remember what happened last year. Look,
are you concerned though that
don't take this team lightly, this and that? So, and look, they've am I concerned with what?
Well, they've covered 10 of 13 against Wisconsin. They seem to always play them pretty hard.
I hear you. That's the way I would lean in this game. Over. I guess I kind of like don't. I worry if Wisconsin kind of can stifle them defensively.
I mean, Ryan, Wisconsin has had issues lately defensively, though. I mean, give up a lot of points against Marquette. I really don't need them to go. I just need them to score 60, let's say. I mean, but I got to tell you, I would actually probably lean Wisconsin myself. I'm not a big fan of this Green Bay team as far as, being able to compete against higher competition. But it is concerning that, they have played pretty well against Green Bay. I guess they just get up for this game for whatever reason. But
over their last 5 games, Wisconsin scored at least 90 points in those games. So, they're scoring the ball as well, too. A pretty good offensive team that they have this year. So, getting into the 90s pretty much at will. So, I would lean Wisconsin, but I also like the overplay.
Marcus Keene, the leading scorer of the country for Central Michigan, dropped 40 on Green Bay. So, Bronson Koenig, Nigel Hayes, Ethan Happ, Showalter. This might be a big night for them. They can score 100 at home here.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. So, I'm going to go over 146.5. Ryan, you're going to go with Wisconsin minus 22.5. And this is what I do, guys. I'm going to include Ryan's picks in my record.
You don't have to.
We're a joint show here. That's what we do. I have no problem putting out picks for people for free. So we're going to do a double downer here, Ryan. The over 146.5 and Wisconsin laying the wood at home against Green Bay. So you think the streak is going to stop tonight? The good luck streak for Green Bay against
I just think it's a rough spot for them. I know they'll get up for it. This is obviously going to get up for it, but playing the last leg of a 4-game road trip and coming off a game where they just played no defense and got embarrassed, I just don't like that. I don't think that all of a sudden that they're going to get it right tonight. So
all right, yeah. I mean they definitely have had issues so far stopping people. Next game, late one, St. Mary's minus 21.5 against Western Kentucky over under 133. West Kentucky, 2-5 ATS on the year, really struggling, Ryan, to score the basketball. 66 points a game. That is 311th in the country. You look at over the last 5 games, they've scored 61 or fewer in 4 of those games. Really are struggling to score the basketball. Now they're going to play a St. Mary's team who lost to Texas Arlington last week, followed it up with a just blitz against Irvine. Irvine and West Kentucky, very similar. Have trouble scoring the basketball. No real scoring threat. St. Mary's, 81 points a game, giving up 61. This St. Mary's team, very efficient, Ryan. 53% shooting, 79% from free throw, 40% from three as a team. And you look at their starting lineup, Ryan. As far as with at least 14 minutes, they have 4 guys that shoot 42% or better from three. They've covered 13 of 17 non-conference games. You listen to some of these scores for West Kentucky. Scored 47 against Washington.
Yeah.
Washington's horrible.
Yep.
Scored 59 against Eastern Kentucky, 61 against UNLV, 56 against Missouri. I mean, are they going to score 50 in this game against St. Mary's? St. Mary's, a team that slows the game down, very efficient, don't allow a lot of possessions. I think this is really similar to the other night against Irvine. I think this is like an 81, 56 type of game. I think St. Mary's just continues to beat down bad teams that can't score. West Kentucky is struggling.
Do you contemplate looking at the over or the total?
Yeah,
at all?
I looked at
because
that.
I like the under. I'm going to give out.
My concern would be
St. Mary's, just because I think they should be able to kind of wire to wire, be able to kind of get the job done. But I do kind of think about the total here and think about Western Kentucky if they're going to be able to score. I mean, they put up 77 points against Indiana State. Okay, that's a nice number. But prior to that, Jeff, I mean, you talked about some of those games, but 56, 59. 61 and then the 47 debacle against Washington. So. And the 47 against Washington, that was at home. And this is another classic spot here where they're in the midst of a 6-game road trip. This will be their 5th out of 6 games on the road. So I don't like that. I don't like college kids that are on the road for extended periods of time that also have to balance school and their friends and their girlfriends and all this other shit they got going on in their life. So I would. I think St. Mary's should be able to get things done tonight. I know they had a hiccup against Arlington last week, but they should be able to get the job done against this real inferior team. At least UT Arlington. At least that team has a pulse, and they're pretty solid.
Yeah, comparing Arlington to West Kentucky,
right.
pretty vast as far as the comparison there. Yeah, I mean, it is tough going into Moraga and playing as well. Very intimate, small atmosphere, and they're efficient there. Jock Lando, Ryan, 6'11", 255. Probably the best player many haven't heard of. 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, 1 block, 67% field goal percentage. Get this right, he's 6'11", shoots 43% from three. How about that?
Impressive.
Kid from Australia. We know the connection that Randy Bennett, the coach of St. Mary's, has to that area. So, 2 pretty good picks tonight, Ryan, I think. I like St. Mary's minus 21.5. I also like the over 146.5 in Wisconsin Green Bay. And you like Wisconsin minus 22.5. So 3 plays tonight. Pretty easy. How about that? Let's just run down the rest of the card. Rapid fire. Georgia, Lafayette, UL Lafayette, I'm sorry. UL Lafayette playing well this year, 8-2 on the year. They are looking like a team in the Sun Belt that people should look out for. Obviously down in the Sun Belt there, you have Arkansas State and Texas Arlington, but UL Lafayette playing pretty well. You wonder though, who have they really beaten? I mean, not a ton there. Padding your schedule with wins against, Oklahoma, Panhandle State, Nichols, McNeese, and Loyola. I mean, who cares? Now you head into an SEC opponent. I almost want to go with Georgia here. I think Georgia will kind of humble UL Lafayette here a little bit.
Yeah, Georgia kind of showed me something a couple weeks back at the end of November when they went to Kansas and really battled in that game and only lost by 11, and that's pretty impressive. Albeit Kansas being one of the better teams in the country year in and year out, so they kind of showed me something there. Obviously, they have some other games against inferior opponents where they haven't really had much of an issue, but and then their last game against Marquette, a Marquette team that's always a solid team year in and year out.
Down 3 at halftime.
They're down 3 at half and only lose by 9. So look, I like Georgia in this spot. That's where I would lean for sure because I think they're aging Cajuns, like you alluded to, Jeff, which is obviously something you have to look at, which I'm not sure why some people don't take into consideration opponents that teams play. I mean, when you play teams that like a Panhandle State, I never even heard of them. So it's always fun to hear those random, just pathetic schools that these teams schedule.
Yeah, Baylor hosting Southern University, the Jaguars. They've been in the tournament a couple times. I remember a couple years ago they played Gonzaga, and they're always a decent team out of the SWAC. But tonight, I just get the feeling I don't think Baylor's going to have much issue with Southern tonight. 27, kind of a big number. Southern hasn't exactly gotten blown out in any of their games. But right now with these big numbers, you got to remember finals week, things like that with a lot of these kids. But Manu Lecomte, John Motley, they shouldn't have any problem with Southern here.
I wouldn't think so. Baylor is one of those teams, and I've kind of noticed it is. These are the times to back Baylor. And if you haven't backed Baylor and you haven't made some money off of them, then you're starting to run out of time. Because it seems that maybe this year will be different. I don't know. But it seems that Baylor's that team that peaks early. And then for whatever reason, whether it's, obviously the tough conference they play in the Big 12 or whatever, but they just really fall back down to earth come January and February. So, but as far as tonight, Jeff, they should be able to take
this Baylor team, you're totally right, Ryan. They just continue, they do start out hot and then kind of just fade away. That's a great point. Well coached. I mean, some good players this year. We'll see how it goes in a tough conference, though.
That's the thing. Sure. They always have some key guys that really can contribute, but they never get over the hump. And is that coaching? I mean, their head coach, what's his name?
Scott Drew.
Thank you, Scott Drew. He's been there for a while. Is he starting to wear out his welcome? I don't know, but for whatever reason, they just can't get over that hump. Yeah,
gun to my head, I would go with Baylor, but I'm not going to be betting this one. Northwestern, they're laying a big number against Chicago State. Chicago State 3-6 out of the WAC. Pretty much suck. Northwestern off of a 34-point victory against New Orleans. Northwestern shouldn't have a problem.
Listen to who Chicago State has played. They played a team called East West University.
Okay.
When are they going to play North-South?
Yeah, where's that? Yeah, I would go with Northwestern. This Chris Collins is a pretty good team. Brian McIntosh, they're a good little team. Northwestern.
They're going to get into the tournament, I believe.
Yeah.
Northwestern. I kind of said that a couple weeks ago when I was on the show sparingly one night.
I watched them
like
against Texas.
Yeah,
killed Texas.
They did.
Easy winner there. They're a pretty good young little team. They
only lost Notre Dame by 4.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they shouldn't have a problem with Chicago State here. Yeah. I actually was surprised. I forgot Chicago State was even in Division I. Mm-hmm. That's pretty crazy. Niagara, Youngstown State, I have no opinion on that one. Ohio, Milwaukee. Yeah, this number kind of got away a little bit. 13-14, I might back Ohio, but they're not that good defensively. Ohio, though, Ryan, they have guys that I feel like have been there for 8 years. Kenny Kaminsky and Antonio Campbell. Milwaukee, they're struggling this year, 4-6. Off a big time 16-point loss against Loyola, Illinois. I would probably lay the number here. Ohio's well coached. Saul Phillips, good coach. They should win this one by 20, I would think.
Yeah, I don't have much on that one, Jeff.
A couple others here. Middle Tennessee, Belmont. Middle Tennessee laying 1.5, over under 146. Middle Tennessee actually looking pretty good. Beat Vanderbilt. Been in some games this year that are, they look like one of the better mid-major teams. Remember last year, Ryan, they beat Michigan State in the tournament.
Yep.
They're well coached. 3 very good players: Corey Williams, Reggie Upshaw, Giddy Potts is still there. Giddy Potts, by the way, looks like he's about 35 years old. I feel like he should not be in college anymore. Belmont, usually a very quality school, coached by Rick Byrd. Struggling this year, though. Not playing great defense. Only hitting 20% of their threes. What do you like in this game? Tennessee matchup here.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee, interesting. 2 of their last 3 games, Jeff, against SEC opponents, and they pounded both of them. Albeit being Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, 2 teams that come basketball season in SEC, you don't really hold into high regard.
People were high, though, on
Yeah.
Valpo this year, with Bryce Drew coming in as the coach. People were, or not Valpo, Vanderbilt.
You're talking about Vanderbilt.
People were high on them
Yeah.
this year.
So, I think that's got to open some people's eyes with Middle Tennessee. And like you said, cast of characters that they bring back has to keep people intrigued. So, yeah, that's kind of the direction I would lean. I think I would lean the other way. You look at Belmont, not the start of the season that they probably wanted to have won 3 in a row. Large in part to 2 of those 3 games were against the same team in Lipscomb, who they kind of disposed of. I should say, both meanings only 2-point victories, last of which going to overtime. So maybe that's something you look at. They're struggling on that. They're struggling to beat teams like Lipscomb. Now you got a Middle Tennessee team rolling in here who's playing with some momentum here.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's a team. You're right, Chip Mack. People have been very high on Vanderbilt, but the problem is they don't have a lot. I mean, they shoot a lot of threes. They haven't been effective in doing that. And last year, at least they had an inside presence with Damian Jones. He's gone.
They haven't been the same since Chain Gang left. They haven't been the same.
Yeah,
since
they had Chain Gang, and then they had they still Kevin Stallings as their coach. Back around like the time when Marshall Henderson was killing it for Ole Miss. Back 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But yeah, Vanderbilt has not been very good recently. East Tennessee State and Mississippi State. I'm going to tell you what, Ryan. East Tennessee State is a team that, out of the Southern Conference, SoCo, that look out for late in the year. They're a really good team. A lot of good players on that team. Did struggle this weekend against Dayton, which, look, I mean, that's going to happen. But East Tennessee State has had, has some decent wins on their schedule. Mississippi State, I don't know. I mean, 6-2, but who have you really beaten? That's kind of the question.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have a lot on this. I would actually almost go with the Buccaneers here. I think East Tennessee is a pretty good mid-major team. I think they can make the tournament out of this conference.
Yeah, I really don't. I have nothing on that matchup, Jeff.
Okay. Middle Tennessee 8-0 to the under this year. Yeah, no, I mean Middle Tennessee's played great defense. That's something you got to point out. Scott, great
Good
call.
point.
Yep. They've played really well so far. St. Louis and Southern Illinois. Barry Hinson, Ryan, the coach of Southern Illinois, he's had some interesting tirades over the years. He actually got a contract extension pretty recently. St. Louis, they're struggling. Travis Ford comes over. Travis Ford leaves Oklahoma State for St. Louis for whatever reason. Yeah. Not really sure why. The Billikens haven't been the same since Larry Hughes left with Rick Majerus.
Yeah. They had that one good year with, what's his name?
Yeah, I know. Jair Jet.
Jet. Yep.
Yeah, they beat St. Bonaventure.
Yes.
Well, and it's funny, right? They really didn't have that great a year.
No.
They only won 1 game.
Right.
that was good, though, by their
But
standards.
still, by their standards, that's right.
But I wonder, if you're Travis Ford, why go to St. Louis?
I can't answer that. I really cannot.
But Southern Illinois, I me're not having a great year either. For some reason, I feel like St. Louis hangs in this game. I don't know why, but no real opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much on this game either. 2 teams that I just really could care less about.
Oral Roberts, Missouri State, I have no opinion. Arkansas State, Tennessee Martin, that's actually a client play for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip that one.
Sure.
Do you have any opinion on Tennessee Martin and Ark State?
No.
Okay, you don't know much about them.
I don't.
Are you surprised to know, though, that Tennessee Martin's 8-3?
Okay.
Arkansas State's 7-2.
The Skyhawks.
Arkansas State's beat Georgetown, Ryan. They beat Chattanooga as well.
Okay.
UC Davis, North Dakota State. Remember when UC Davis cashed so many tickets?
Of course.
A couple years ago with Corey
Davis.
Corey Hawkins.
Or Corey Hawkins,
Yeah.
yep. Corey Davis.
That was a great year, wasn't it?
Yep.
Corey Hawkins.
From UC Davis. Yes.
North Dakota State was a casher a couple years ago as well. Back when, remember they went to the tournament?
Well,
they beat Oklahoma.
I was going to say they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was 2 years ago, I believe. UC Davis struggling to score the ball. Maybe you want to look under. Good. This isn't being played outside. I think it's like 6 degrees in Fargo.
Yeah.
Any opinion?
Not really. UC Davis, I think, kind of a flash in the pan there with Corey Hawkins, obviously a couple years ago, and we saw him kind of come back down to earth last year. Maybe a slight lean to North Dakota State.
I actually kind of did. I kind of want to take Davis here.
Really?
I think they're a little bit better maybe than people might think. North Dakota State, I mean, they're 6-4. I mean, they're just kind of that normal, I mean, can they really cover double digits here? I don't know. Little Rock, Northern Arizona. Don't jump quickly into Northern Arizona here. Just remember, guys, Little Rock, they've had one road game this year, and it's in elevation tonight against the Lumberjacks. They did play in elevation, though, last year in the NCAA tournament. Little Rock should roll in this game, but for whatever reason, I feel like Northern Arizona hangs. But I'm going to probably lay the number with Little Rock. It's still a good team.
I think I would lean the same way. They still playing that stifling defense this year, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Didn't need overtime, though, to beat Central Arkansas the other night. Only won that game by 11. They have some wins, but not a ton of. I mean, they had one blowout this year, and it was against the University of Ozarks.
Very, very formidable opponent.
Yeah. So I don't know. For whatever reason, Little Rock just seems to make games a lot more difficult. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Oklahoma State. Right.
I was waiting to get to this one.
Well, I want to point out about Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Why I know this, I don't know. I just read a ton, and I know a lot about these teams. Juwan Evans and Phil Forte not playing tonight. That's huge for Oklahoma State. That's their two best players. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, not a great offensive team. Do you happen to know who leads the country, though, in three-point defense?
It's got to be Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, by a wide margin. 32.5, 33. I'm going to go with them here.
Going to take Pine Bluff, huh?
Yeah, I am.
Pine Bluff struggles to score.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they really do struggle to score.
They're really bad, dude. I actually backed them, a team that they played last year. In the first half run, they had like 11 points, Pine Bluff.
Two teams did play last year, only a 14-point game, so maybe you're onto something there with the two key pieces for Oklahoma State out.
If Pine Bluff loses by 33 or more, that's pretty pathetic. I mean, you have 30 points to work with, basically.
Cowboys don't play good defense, giving up close to 80 a game, so maybe they'll be able to get theirs a little bit. I know they struggle to score.
If Pine Bluff doesn't cover, college is fixed. I'm telling you. There's no reason they shouldn't cover this game. Incarnate Word at UNLV. You have any opinion on that game?
No. What's the word when it comes to Incarnate Word? Not much.
I still am blown away they're actually a D1 team. For years thought they were a D2. They sound like a Calvary Baptist church.
Very much so.
It's like, hey, let's over Incarnate Word have a game tonight.
Yeah.
Are you coming over to the
You're going over to Incarnate Word? You got a Bible study afterwards? Yeah.
Yeah. Then we could play basketball and have refreshments.
Yep.
It's like UC Irvine, Nevada. Nevada, Ryan, very nice win the other night. I had them against Washington. They went in there and got the job done. Nevada, look out for them in the Mountain West. A pretty much down Mountain West this year. San Diego State not as good. I think Nevada is really going to be a team to look out for late in the year. They can score. They have some really good go-to players. Irvine is struggling without Luke Nelson, their best player. When he's going to come back, no one knows. But without him, I think they're going to have issues here. It might take Nevada a little bit, but I think you want to take them full game here. I think they get the job done.
Yeah, I haven't really had a lot of opportunity to watch a lot of West Coast basketball so far early on this young college basketball season, with the exception of some of the bigger, the top guns of the country. But yeah, I'll take your word for it with Nevada here, though, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on them. I really think that long term, I think they're going to be a good bet, and I also think they're going to do a little bit of damage in the Mountain West. UC Santa Barbara and UCLA. We actually did that roundtable yesterday, Ryan, and one of the presenters brought this game up. At that point yesterday, it was 27. The line's up to 30.
Yeah.
My question is, listen, I'm not betting against UCLA. Don't be surprised, though, to see Santa Barbara cover in this game. I think what's UCLA's continued reasoning to win by 40 points in these games? I mean, it's finals week out at UCLA. look, Santa Barbara blows. I'm not getting in the way of UCLA right now, but there's a lot of points. The Gauchos. You're not jumping in front of UCLA, right? No, me either.
I kind of went against my gut a little last night in that Michigan game. Got a little cute, thinking they wouldn't kind of show up because of all the variables going around, and they killed. And sometimes in sports the talent gap is just too big. I mean, really. So,
yeah.
And I think this is definitely one of those cases that UCLA has 8-10 guys that can score and can score consistently.
Do you think that with UCLA at some point that, let's be honest, UCLA hasn't been a relevant basketball program for a long time.
And that's what I was going to actually bring up.
Yeah, at what point are they going to start? Because, look, they're not a blue blood program anymore. They're not Kentucky. They're not Duke. They're not Kansas. They didn't have a lot of success last year. They got rid of their press clippings a little bit.
They couldn't stop anyone. That was
that's the problem. Yeah, in the out of USC and at UCLA, both those teams are undefeated right now.
Yeah,
USC and they're doing without Benny Boat, right? But at what point does UCLA start to read the headlines a little bit? Because they're not going to shoot 70% forever.
No, but I think and that's actually a point I was going to make about them not being relevant. I think the fact that they haven't been relevant or even close to this relevant in of quite some time, really.
I mean, John Wooden. That was the last time they were relevant. Really.
I think that's kind of given the university a shot in the arm. It's given the team a shot in the arm. Giving these kids a shot in the arm. And will they read headlines? Probably. I mean, they're kids, but at the same time, you got to look at the coaching staff and see what kind of job the coaching staff does.
Are you a big fan of Steve Alford? I'm not particularly. He just seems kind of like...
He seems like a douchebag.
But, I mean, they did have that Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love team about 6-7 years ago.
But that's what they've been over the last handful, decades. Is just flash. They'll have a flash in the pan team.
Yeah.
This team and could really springboard them going forward.
Because if they're reading their headlines, I mean, many people think they're the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Especially after that Kentucky win. But other than that Kentucky win, there's not a lot of great wins in that schedule. So, tonight I don't think it's going to be a problem. But, I think going towards Pac-12 time, that'll be interesting. They went to the championship. Yeah, that was with the Kevin Love, that team.
About a decade ago, yep.
So, I mean, they haven't had a whole ton of, hoopla lately. Last one, Grand Canyon run, the Fighting Dan Marleys against Arizona. Does Grand Canyon get up for this game? I mean, they're in-state rivals.
A
new program.
I mean, probably, but
I don't think Arizona's very good. I'm going to just point that out. Until Parker Jackson Cartwright gets healthy and stays healthy.
Out.
Yeah, Trier's been out. I don't think until they get back, I'm not interested in Arizona. Don't be surprised if Grand Canyon covers. 16.5, a lot of points.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon beat San Diego State a little bit ago, like last week. Thunder Dan Marley, good program. Have you ever seen their gym? You've seen their gym, right?
Yes.
It's gigantic. It's huge.
Yeah, you love that.
Yeah. I think it blows me away how nice their gym is. It's like
because it's new.
It's like an NBA team.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's nice.
2 plays tonight. We like St. Mary's minus 21.5, and we like or Green Bay and Wisconsin over 146.5. Ryan, you like Wisconsin minus the 22.5.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the bowls, Ryan. We have more to do here. We're going through the whole card. We've started. We're about
doing
halfway.
The rest of them?
No, not doing. No, we're doing about 6 or so. We're going through December 27th. I think we have some great picks so far. And what we'll do once we're finished with this, we'll be done in the next couple days here. We'll post them all and see how we do, Ryan. First one here, December 26th, day after Christmas. You got 11 a.m. A bowl in which I don't know that they really need to have. I got to tell you, this group of games, these three games on December 26th, might be the 3 worst bowl games possible, I think. You got Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Minus 13 against Miami of Ohio, over under 58.5. Mississippi State ranked 5-7. Only reason they're in the bowls are because of their academic progress reports. Miami of Ohio at 6-6. They haven't been in a fucking bowl in forever, have they?
Yeah.
Need everyone's opinion. Is it acceptable to take your shoes off and put your feet up on a public trinket? No, it is not.
Absolutely not.
No, it is not. Someone's doing that. Okay.
Next to me. Currently, and
Is
his
that-
stinky ass feet up and the shoes
Is
off.
this currently this is happening?
Yeah, Chip Mack, I would say something.
I mean, or go somewhere else. Just walk away.
Or if you're not confrontational, right, go, move, because that's extremely rude.
Where are you at?
Especially
right
if he's on a train.
Yeah, like where are you from, Chip Mack? I'd be interested to know that. Yeah, I would probably get up and walk away. That's kind of that's definitely not something.
Very rude.
Yeah,
very rude.
Yeah, I would not
But
put up.
There's
with
a lot of rude people in the world, so I'm not.
If it was me, I would tell them to get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, that's pretty.
This is
gross.
a fucking train, not a hotel.
That's gross.
But we got the St. Petersburg Bowl here.
Yes.
Mississippi State. Should they be in a bowl, really? At 5-7?
Not at 5-7.
Kind of pathetic, isn't it? Miami of Ohio, Ryan, Miami of Ohio, 7-2 as an underdog this year.
Yeah.
Really played well. Great defense.
Played good defense. That's the thing.
Gus Ragland came in, and they ended up winning, I think, 6 straight to get to a bowl game. How about that? Great fight from Chuck Martin's crew. Really impressive. I liked them in this game. I think the 13, I think there's too many points. We saw Mississippi State, Ryan, struggle against the loss to South Alabama at home. They gave up a ton of points to Samford, not Stanford, Samford.
Right. Yeah.
You look at the last 3 games for Mississippi State, Ryan, they give up 601 yards a game over the last 3.
It's wild.
I think Miami of Ohio is hungry. I think they hang here. I'm going to take the 13.
I kind of would take the 13 as well, too. Strictly for the fact that I think Miami of Ohio will be more fired up, more juiced up for this game. And Mississippi State, they're just kind of, I mean, you look at the way they've kind of, coming into the bowl season, not particularly good. Winning 5 games. That's not living up to their standards. So I would lean to Miami of Ohio for sure. Not a whole lot on this game, but I do like the Miami of Ohio defense. Though it'd be interesting to see how they go up against the SEC offense. But they'll definitely be the more invested team.
Yeah, I think they hang here. I think they play hard. I think they hold on to the ball for a good amount of time. Keep the ball in Mississippi State's hands. Ryan, I think they're the best story of the bowl season. I think it's awesome that they're in a bowl. I really do. I think they've been a dumpster fire for a lot of years, and it's nice to see them. They celebrated like it was 2008 the other.
There's
week.
a few teams that
It's good to see this.
Yeah, really had bad year last year, and UCF is one that we talked about the other night. Really had bad years last year, and for them to these teams to bounce back and become bowl eligible, it's good for the program.
About 2 or 3 years ago, I faded Miami of Ohio so much. Like I was always fading them.
They're bad. They were bad.
They were really bad,
Yep.
and it's nice to see them actually do something. And I think Mississippi State's pretty overrated. I don't think they belong in a bowl. So I'm going to go with the Redhawks here, plus the 13. You agree?
I do agree with that.
Next one, 2:30 p.m. This game is. I actually have to think. I think this is the worst bowl game of them all. Honestly,
Okay.
The Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. You got Maryland -1 against Boston College. I was blown away to learn that Boston College was in a bowl game. We watched them a couple times this year, and they
won 6
brutal.
games somehow.
I don't know.
I
how.
think that speaks to the conference they play.
Yeah, they won 6 games somehow. I don't know how. I would love to hear who they.
They're
beat
6-6.
this year.
Couple of their wins, Jeff, to kind of just that have just a brief condensed schedule in front of me. 3 wins that I do have in front of me. NC State on the road. It's a nice little win. Connecticut and Wake Forest.
Yeah, at the end of the year, right?
I mean,
yeah, nothing much there. Out of conference, I'm sure they're beating up on the UMasses of the world and that kind of thing. Another bowl they should probably scrap here. They should call this being the Who Gives a Fuck Bowl. Are you going to watch this one?
am I going to watch it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, me either.
I hate watching Boston College.
Boston College, 14 points a
Hate
game on
watching
the
them.
road. Defensively, they're pretty good. We know that. Perry Hillis come back from injury. That's a good thing for Maryland. They actually played pretty well with him in the first. Remember they were undefeated. I think they were 4-0.
Yeah, when they were playing a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, DJ Durkin though, pretty good coach. To start out the season. I can't back Patrick Tolles. I mean, 51% completion percentage, Ryan, this year, 10 touchdowns. In 12 games, he had 10 touchdowns. Get a load of this. John Hillman, their leading rusher, 463 yards this year. I'm going to go Maryland in this game.
I actually am going to back BC, Jeff.
Get the fuck out of here. Why?
I'm going to back BC. Couple reasons.
How are you gonna
One,
back BC?
they have the better defense, and 2, which is kind of the
Who played the better
the
competition,
swinging-
though?
I hear you, but the kind of the swing vote, I guess you could say, in this election year, the swing vote for me is turnover margin. I look at turnover margin for both of these teams. Maryland the last 5 weeks of the season forced 1 turnover. Boston College, on the other hand, last 5 weeks of the season forced 13 turnovers. So, I mean, I like that. If you're taking the ball away from the opposition more times than not, you're going to win the games. I'm going to go Boston College, Jeff.
Yeah,
So
Ryan, I'm pretty.
We'll wash, we'll push, which I think with this bowl, though, Jeff, isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad. I'm pretty annoyed with you, Ryan, that you actually went with Boston College here.
Why?
I think Maryland's a pretty good side, honestly.
Okay.
It's interesting that you like Boston College here because you've voiced to me several times that you think they're repulsive.
I do.
But, yeah, I guess it's not the worst game to disagree on. By the way, the wins for Boston College this year, UMass, Wagner, Buffalo, NC State, UConn, and Wake. I mean, Wagner? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How bad is Wagner? You lost by 32 to Boston College. Huh. Brutal.
Yeah.
We'll push on that one, so that one won't count. No opinion, really. I think basically what we've agreed on is if we both like opposite sides, it's not going to count because, it won't count.
Yep.
5 o'clock, same day, 12:26. You got the Independence Bowl. Ryan, where's this game? Can you guess where this game is? I'll give you 10 guesses. You won't guess.
No, I don't know.
It's in Shreveport, Louisiana.
In Louisiana, wow.
NC State -4.5 against Vandy. I'm going to go with Vandy in this game, Ryan. I think they're a team on a mission. I like the way Derek Mason rallied the troops late. They beat Ole Miss and Tennessee to make a bowl. I think Ralph Webb is a fantastic player. I think Kyle Shermer's gotten better and better. And I just can't back a team in NC State that, the quarterback's injured. Ryan Finley, he may not play. And you look at the last couple games for Vandy, Ryan. Last 3 games, over 500 yards a game and 33 points a game. I'm going to go with them here. I'm going to ride the hot hand with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, with Lindley possibly being out and Finley being out, NC State.
Lindley?
Yeah.
Who, Ryan Lindley?
Ryan Lindley, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
Where did he go to college?
San Diego State, yeah.
Remember he played in the NFL
He
for a
did.
number of years?
That's what I was thinking of. It's funny. I initially was kind of leaning towards the under, but the way Vanderbilt kind of got things going at the end of the year, I don't want that to kind of come back and bite me. But so I'll actually side with Vanderbilt in this game. I like what Vanderbilt did this year. Another kind of one of them kind of good feel good stories. Both these teams 6-6, but Vanderbilt 6-6 on the year, and hey. They have to be feeling good about themselves. Offensively, they were a little challenged, especially early in the year to start the year, and especially on the road, only scoring 17 points per game. But like you mentioned, Jeff, kind of got it going late, so that kind of, I think that might springboard them a little bit here. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely think they're a team. You got to kind of ride the hot hand a lot of the time, and there was a lot of talk that NC's coach wouldn't be back, and Dave. Duran, I think his name is. Doran.
I mean, for Vanderbilt to beat Ole Miss and Tennessee to close out the year, that's got to give them some confidence going into the bowl season, going into this matchup. And, hung tough with Auburn there. So, look, I mean, yeah, I think Vanderbilt's, most importantly, Vanderbilt is trending upward. And that's good for them.
Vanderbilt a good defense. They can run the ball with Ralph Webb. I think they'll, I think
he's been there for a long time.
Yeah, he has been. Vandy +4.5 to play from us. Ryan, let's move to December 27th. You have 12 o'clock Eastern. You get the Heart of Dallas Bowl. This was actually rated the most intriguing bowl game of the
least
intriguing, yes, by ESPN. You got Army -10 against North Texas, over under 49. Ryan, you don't see this often. These teams actually faced each other during the season. Army lost 35-18. It was one of the more disappointing losses for the Black Knights this year. Ryan, they had 7 turnovers in that game. It was a rainy, windy day.
Very undisciplined.
It was the same day as that hurricane, I believe.
It was.
Hurricane.
It was.
What's his name? So you kind of chalked that one up. Army off the really good win against Navy, a game in which they hadn't won in 14 years. They're also playing for that fallen teammate, Ryan. Brandon Jackson. So, this is kind of the swan song for the Army team. They're ready and raring to go, I think. And I think North Texas, another 5-7 team, I'm not sure they belong in a bowl. This North Texas team, all of their losses this year, Ryan, were by 14 or more points. Their wins, I mean, they beat just junk all year. I like Army in this game. I think they win by double digits, 14, 17.
I like Army as well. You look at North Texas, kind of what they did to close the year, and when I look at my bowl games, that's kind of one thing I like to kind of look at. I like to look and see how teams are closing the year, especially in these bowl games where you have kind of two teams that are are right around 500. Just a couple average football teams. I like to see how teams are going in and what their mindset is going into the bowl game, at least from my perspective. And North Texas, talk about backing in. Really backing in, lost 4 of 5, did not cover 4 of those 5. And Army, on the other hand, they got to be feeling good with getting that win against Navy and really kind of putting that exclamation point on the season. Plus, you get revenge. Got to think with the 7 turnovers and the sloppy gameplay and all that kind of stuff is they realize that wasn't the way that they expected and the way they should have played. So Army should come out and really kind of handle North Texas. I never thought I'd really see a day when North Texas was in a bowl game.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be in one, really, because of their record, but this academic performance shit. I actually want to tell you, Ryan, I think this is one of the bigger blowouts of the bowls.
Okay.
To be honest. I think Army rolls in this game.
All right.
Is it going to be 66-14 like the UTEP game? Probably not, but I think North Tech's a little overmatched.
All right.
3:30 Military Bowl, Temple minus 13 against Wake Forest. Ryan, there was a $50,000 bet made at the South Point yesterday in Las Vegas against on Temple. So somebody out there really likes the Owls in this game, and I have to agree with them. I don't really like Wake in this spot. Wake, a team that look, for what it's worth, struggled this year to score points. Out of their last 6 games, Ryan, 5 of which they scored 14 points or less. Against a team in Temple who is very good defensively at 5th in the country, against a Temple team that is pretty balanced. They have 2 900-yard rushers, a senior quarterback in P.J. Walker. And the last thing I want to say is new coach, and there's a lot of seniors on this team. I say it again, and I'll say it again. The Swan Song, last game, preparing yourself for the future. You want to go out on top. I think Wake's overmatched here. I think they're just happy to be here in this one.
12-1
right.
ATS. Good enough for me, not going against Temple. And I think partly that $50,000 wager there, I think a little of that has to do with the fact that they're 12-1 ATS, and they have to be feeling a little good about themselves making a bet like that with a team that's this good ATS. And look, you talk about the coaching carousel that they're going through right now.
How do you know it's not me making that bet?
Yeah, right. If you're making that bet, we got to talk.
We're watching Comcast Philly Sports Talk right now, Ryan, and they're talking about a little poll here.
Yep.
Should the Eagles consider signing Michael Floyd, the wide receiver from Arizona? 83% yes, 17% no. Why would anyone vote no there?
I would vote no.
Why?
He has the same amount of catches on the year as Nelson Aguilar.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
He can't be any worse. And if you can get him cheap, why not? So you agree Temple's the play here?
They're not going anywhere, so why sign them? But
Temple's the play here?
I agree.
Next one, 7 o'clock Eastern, Holiday Bowl, San Diego, California. You get the Washington State Cougars, -9 against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, over under 61.5. Ryan, Wazoo, 2 bowl teams they played this year, Stanford and Idaho. Those are the only bowl wins they have against bowl caliber teams.
Oh, bowl wins.
They really didn't beat anyone for all the hoopla we gave to the Wazoo team. They didn't cover numbers, though. They were covering against a lot of teams. But last couple games of the season, Washington, Colorado, didn't play well.
Didn't show up.
And, look, Minnesota reminds me a lot of Colorado as far as you love to run the football, like to play good defense, keep the other team off the field. Listen, Mitch Leidner, good quarterback. He's ran for 6 rushing touchdowns his last 6 games. Rodney Smith and Shannon Brooks. The key to beating Washington State, keeping them off the field. Running the ball, long drives, good defense. Minnesota, Ryan, was 1 or 2 games away from the Big Ten title game. They were, mark my words. They should have beat Penn State. If they would have, they may have been in that Big Ten title game. Minnesota's a lot better than a lot of people think. I think they hang around in this game. I think this line's too high. I can be honest. I think this is one of those live dog kind of situations here. My one concern here would be the going to San Diego. Washington State's a little bit more familiar with this turf than Minnesota is, but I think this is a pretty good matchup for Minnesota.
It's funny, both of these teams really kind of were benefactors of just beating up on kind of lesser competition. You look at Minnesota too; they really don't have a very good win. It's a shame that Penn State win kind of got away from them because that could have been something there. But yeah, I think these two teams are actually pretty similar. Not similar in the way they do things, but similar that they're both. I don't think they're anything special, and I don't think that this should be a spread greater than 7 points by any means. So I'm on board with you actually, Jeff, with Minnesota and the Big Ten. I think that this will kind of play into their hands, like you said. Run the football, play good defense, keep that air raid offense off the field and whatnot. So. And it's a shame because Minnesota, you're right. You made a good point. And we were actually talking about that the last weekend of the season because you had a question to me about, if can they get into the Big Ten title game, this and that, and it was unfortunate that they couldn't. But one game goes your way. One late collapse against Penn State. If that doesn't happen, how different their season could have been.
Yeah, and they had some close.
We were
calls.
watching that game, and that was unfortunate because they had that game. They really had that game.
Yeah, no, they totally did. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Minnesota here, +9 against Washington State. Final one that we're gonna discuss tonight, 10:15 p.m. December 27th. You got the Cactus Bowl. This one is in Chase Field, Ryan. What Major League Baseball team plays there?
The Diamondbacks.
Good call. The Fighting Paul Goldschmidts. Boise State -7 against Baylor. Over under 67. Baylor, Ryan, lost 6 straight games.
Yeah, they're on a free fall.
To get into a bowl here.
Yep.
Jim Grobe is gone. Who's their coach coming in?
Matt Rule.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
My fault. There's been so many coaching changes.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
That's why they call it a carousel.
That's right. Oh, will he coach in this game? I would think. No?
No. New coaches never coach in bowl.
Well, he'll be there, though, I would
He'll
think.
probably be there, but he definitely is not coaching. That does not happen.
I could have sworn Mark Richt coached their bowl game last year.
Miami?
Yeah.
No.
I could have sworn he did.
No.
Because when I saw him there.
He's probably there, yes, but they don't coach.
But I think that gives a lot. I think that goes more the way than the coach being there. The fact that he's there,
Yeah.
you have to admit he's got some sort of game. He's involved in that somehow. The fact that he's there, I think it's kind of cool for Baylor. But I'm not shitting back in them here. I think no Seth Russell, obviously. Zach Smith's in there. He did some decent things, but Boise, pretty solid team, good offense, pretty solid defense, good running back with McNichols and Brett Rippon and Spurbeck.
Spurbeck, yep.
It's a shame. Boise kind of looked, like they had a lot going for them, and then they lose to Wyoming. But yeah, I'm not interested back in Baylor right now.
I can't back Baylor, especially with the playmakers that Boise kind of brings to the table offensively. I'm not willing to kind of go against that. And Boise, a team that I was really kind of high on to start the year, and they really just kind of didn't live up to the hype again this year. And I thought with the weapons they had on offense that they would have been able to kind of score more points than they did, and it didn't work out for them this year. But I think against Baylor, I think this kind of puts an exclamation point and kind of caps a really dismal season for Baylor, and they just take one more punch to the gut here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about Oregon or about Boise. They're a team that I think a lot of people were pretty high on this year as far as kind of the people they brought back and kind of in that conference. I don't think anyone really thought that that they would do much. I was surprised that they got Willie Taggart. I didn't really understand that hire. I thought they would kind of go more for this coach at Boise, Brian Harsin. I thought that would have been a good move. I don't understand the Willie Taggart move at all.
Well, it's pretty obvious Baylor or at Oregon.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious that Oregon, I mean, they like offense.
Yeah, they want to keep up that.
And Taggart has done. Is it Taggart or Taggart?
It's Taggart.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't see them bringing a defensive coach. I couldn't see that. They obviously want to keep up with the running gun, and that's what he does. And he's done a great job at South Florida. So
Justin Herbert coming back next year as a sophomore, that's going to be a pretty good offense.
It'll be interesting to see. They actually just made a hire. I saw before we went on the air. They made a hire. They nabbed Colorado's defensive coordinator,
nice.
Jim Everett or something like that.
So no more Brady Hoke.
No, he's gone. And I don't think he'll get a job again.
Right.
Excuse me, Jeff. But yeah, you said you didn't really like the hire or didn't understand it. I don't mind it. I see where
It just reminds me a lot of like
I see where they're coming
Charlie
from.
Strong, honestly.
It'll be interesting to see if he can live up to the hype of a really big marquee program.
Last thing I want to point out tonight, Ryan, is obviously with the coaching stuff ending, the coaching carousel and that kind of thing. I noticed that Al Golden still's without a job. He is a coach. He's in the NFL at Detroit. He's a tight ends coach.
Maybe he's enjoying that.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm still lost as to how he's not a coach. I thought what he did at Temple was fantastic. I thought he really resurrected that program after a long, dark number of years. He then goes to Miami, and I know people want to jump on him for the last 2 years he was there. He had probably one of the worst situations to go into that he got a raw deal. I mean, he did.
James Franklin went into a similar situation, and he's thriving.
I know, but you had a guy. But the Miami situation was one of the worst ever. I mean, they had a ton of.
I mean, Penn State's pretty bad too, man.
Yeah,
what they're going through.
But I don't understand how Randy Shannon was the answer.
I hear what you're saying.
Randy Shannon drove that program into fucking despair. They're still not recovered from that.
I hear what you're saying, but I think to use kind of something you talk about is I think perhaps Golden was just a little in over his head with a Temple.
Well, why not
with a Temple team that great story. You built him up. That's awesome. You did something good. And similar to Taggart and some of these other guys that you point out, Jeff, maybe he's just wasn't ready for that next big step. Maybe he's just not ready for that next big step to be the guy, the head coach of a Power 5 team. And
but why not?
Maybe he's found something now in Detroit.
Why not like a team like a Purdue?
Yeah,
something.
okay.
It's interesting that no one scooped him up at this point. Yeah. But yeah,
and that's the thing too. We haven't heard anything from him. We haven't even heard a name drop as to someone tweeting out they're interviewing him.
Yeah,
So maybe he's just happy where he's at. That could be. Maybe teams have reached out. Maybe someone said, "Hey, Al, we're interested in bringing you in as a defensive coordinator."
I was surprised Temple
interest?
wouldn't look back to him. I mean, they needed a coach. I mean,
you don't see that though.
Well, he's from the area. He's from New Jersey. He did a lot of good things to the program.
Would you bring a guy back that just up and left you?
That was a job of a lifetime,
right?
I mean, come on.
But I don't think the
dream job.
I don't think they would do that. If I was an athletic director, I wouldn't do that.
I just thought he got a raw deal at Miami, and I thought that he, that program, it's pretty interesting how far they've fallen, really. Because if you remember, I mean, and you do, you've watched that there's that what's it called?
Well, 30
for
30?
Right. Which I have to watch. I should watch that. But they were down. They came back up. They won the national championship in 2001. Next year, they get screwed against. By the way, they got screwed against Ohio State. That was an awful call at the end, and everyone knows it. Even Ohio State people know it. So Trey wasn't even alive, I don't think, at that point. But I don't think he was. I mean, he's a pretty young kid. I think it's 2001. He was young.
I wonder how old he is.
He's in his early 20s.
Yeah,
I believe. I think he's 21 or 22. But and then they had the Nevin Shapiro fiasco. Nevin, what a piece of shit that guy is, Nevin Shapiro.
Yeah.
By the way, Randy Shannon, isn't that what a coach is all about? Like saying, hey, stay the fuck away from our program.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
And then Nevin Shapiro gets sentenced to prison. He's in federal prison, and he throws them all under the bus.
Yeah.
Then the NCAA gets involved, and they
He's just a scumbag, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you don't allow people like that around your university.
Well,
around your team.
That's the head coach's fault.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
They were so eager for funds that,
Yeah.
they let that shithead around.
That's a shame.
Still in prison, by the way, Nevin Shapiro.
Good.
He's eligible for parole in 2027.
Eligible for parole in 2027.
Yes. Because in a federal sentence, you have to do 80% of your time, so he's been in there for a while.
It's a long time. He still has over a decade to go.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably get out
at least.
He'll probably get out in 2024 or something. But yeah, it's a long it's a long time. But everyone have a great night. Appreciate you all listening. Best
Go
gambler.
Flyers.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's a good point. They're out in Colorado tonight. Go for 10 in a row. Colorado's pretty bad. They're one of the worst teams in the NHL.
And they're actually the worst home team in the NHL.
They're bad defensively as well. I think they give up 3 goals a game. Mason off of a rest. He got rest the other night.
They had a nice little break here after that win on Sunday.
Yeah, I think pretty nice price too. Only laying 115.
They should be able to get the job done tonight.
Would you lay the puck line? Their power play's been great, and their PK's been good as well.
I think I'd contemplate it, but this is
Their penalty kill is the best in the league.
Jeff, I mentioned you the other night. You asked me would I back the Flyers. I forget what game it was, and I said, Jeff, I would keep betting them until they lose, and I would.
Yeah. I mean, you're dead right. And I bet them on Sunday against
There you go.
against the Red Wings.
It's like keep riding them.
Oh yeah, one other thing in the NBA tonight, the Cavs are getting 8 points tonight. You don't see that very
That's
often.
because the trifecta's off.
Correct. Bet them tonight. They will win tonight. They're cover. You always fade everyone always jumps on the team. Like it came about a couple years ago when the Spurs used to do it. The line makers would just go crazy and give the team all these sort of points and stuff, and they would always cover. It happens all the time. It's situational. Bet the Cavs tonight. They'll hang around. Getting 7.5. You have to go with that here. They're playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who, by the way, suck as well. So go with Cleveland tonight. They're going to cover. Anyone have anything on the Lakers Nets? Anything right on that?
No.
Nets are terrible.
I don't.
I would probably say. I would probably go with the Lakers there. Lou Williams, Ryan, he's been really good.
Very good.
This year. Brooklyn is a total mess on defense. Worst defensive team in the league. I would go with the Lakers in that game. But two of the worst teams in the NBA. So, anything else tonight?
I don't believe so. No
shout-outs or anything?
Nah.
Remember we used to do that?
Yeah.
You used to shout your mom every time?
Yeah. Shout out moms or friends or
years ago when
people
first
getting married and stuff.
We first started.
I used to do that.
Our podcast was called The Other Guys Podcast. We had it was just you and I.
It was.
And we talked about sports.
Just random sports.
Yeah, no sports betting really. And I remember you would always shout your mom or a group that was getting married.
Yep.
Good time.
So someone that was having a birthday, it was just random things. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so tonight we like St. Mary's minus 21.5. We also like Wisconsin.
Hey, can I give my mom a shout out?
We also like Wisconsin minus 22.5 and the over 146.5. Yes, I'm going to shout out your mom. Patty, get me some goddamn lasagna.
Jesus. Just waiting on that money. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's right.
I'm kidding.
Well, I need lasagna. Your mom's got good lasagna.
She does.
By the way, we're going to a party. My parents.
Yeah, which is always a nice little festive.
Telling me there's going to be 50 people plus there, supposedly.
They always have a shit ton of people at them parties.
Yeah, catered though. So.
I know. The food will be a nice.
It's always a nice time.
It'll be a nice little spread. So
yeah, always a good time. But all right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, with another edition of the show. Will you be here, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Ryan will be here. Very good. Do you kiss your mother with that mouth? LOL. Yes, because my mom she told me to talk like that.
Huh.
So. Can I get the flyer horn, Ryan? Let me get that on the way out here.
Hold on. I just want to see something.
Get me the fucking fire horn, Ryan.
This is gonna be me when I walk into that party to you. This is what
it's gonna be an ad. Watch.
I know. Fucking bullshit.
Some spread, huh?
Chris Berman.
Yeah. Well, no. Hey, the spreads.
Some spread, huh?
Yeah, the spreads are always good at my parents, and like I said, this is Yeah, my mom was actually. Yeah, my mom was on the podcast last year. Many heard her as far as she gave her breakdown on Caitlyn Jenner. But let's get a fire win tonight, right, Ryan?
Hopefully. I mean, look, 10 in a row. They haven't won 10 in a row since I believe 1985. So hopefully they get it done.
That's what we're hoping to hear tonight. All right, everyone have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.